We've uncovered the truth about sliced deli ham in Canadian grocery stores, and what Loblaws, Metro, and Sobeys are not telling you about the ham they're slicing fresh at their deli counters will shock you and change how you think about Canadian food quality forever. Imagine trusting that freshly sliced ham is a wholesome premium cut, only to discover it is mostly engineered from scraps, injected with water, salt, and chemicals, then glued together to look like real meat. For years, Canada's biggest grocery chains have used a loophole in federal labeling laws to sell these restructured ham loaves right under your nose, with up to 30% water, hidden additives, and almost no clear ingredient list. So how do they get away with it? And more importantly, how can you tell real ham from the imitation sitting behind the counter? The answers start right now. Under Canadian law, there is a hard line that separates what can be sold as real ham from everything else. The rule is simple, but almost nobody at a deli counter knows it. For a product to be called the term whole boneless ham or simply boneless ham, it must contain at least 80% meat in pieces, weighing 25 grams or more, about the size of a large grape. If the loaf does not meet that threshold, it cannot be called ham on its own. Instead, it must be labeled chopped ham or minced ham. A regulatory expert explains that if the ham does not meet the minimum size and proportion of muscle pieces, it must be identified as chopped ham or minced ham. That is not just a technicality. It is the difference between a product sliced from an actual pork leg and one built from a slurry of smaller scraps, molded to look convincing. The 80% rule is the benchmark, the test that is supposed to protect shoppers from being misled. It means a real ham should be made mostly from large, intact muscles, not pulverized trimmings or ground-up leftovers. If the pieces are too small, or if too much water and filler are pumped in, the loaf loses the right to be called ham by itself. But the reality behind the counter is more complicated. Even though the law sets a clear numeric threshold, most people never see the original label or know what kind of product is being sliced. The words on the glass, Black Forest, honey ham, smoked ham, sound rustic and premium, but the legal name that matters is often buried in fine print, if it is visible at all. This numeric standard is more than a technical footnote. It is the line major grocery chains use to decide what products they can legally call ham and what needs a qualifier. It is also the standard that forms the basis for any lab test or investigation into whether what is being sold matches what is being promised. For Canadian families paying premium prices at the deli, the 80% rule is the only thing standing between a real ham and a carefully engineered imitation. At the deli counter, the real story is not written on the glass or the price tag. Canadian law draws a sharp line between what is considered real ham and what is not, but that line disappears in the fine print. Grocery stores are not required to post the full ingredient list or nutrition facts for sliced-to-order deli meats where you can see them. Instead, the details are tucked away, sometimes in a binder behind the counter, sometimes on the original packaging that has already been tossed. The only legal obligation is to make that information available if you ask for it. For most shoppers, that means unless you know the right question to ask, you will never see the list of ingredients or the true product name. CFIA guidance makes it clear, as long as the store can produce the ingredient list on request, they are following the rules. There is no requirement to print the words chopped ham, minced ham, or restructured pork with water, salt, phosphates, carrageenan, and transglutaminase on the display. Instead, what you get are big, inviting names like Black Forest, honey ham, smoked, that sound wholesome and familiar. The legal name, the one that would tell you whether you are buying real ham or a processed imitation, is often printed in tiny letters on a sticker or buried in paperwork you will never see unless you insist. This system creates a gap between what is legal and what is visible. Most people never think to ask for a binder, and staff rarely volunteer the full details. Behind the scenes, grocery chains rely on this loophole to sell products that can be up to 30% water and packed with industrial additives, all under the comforting image of freshly sliced ham. The law's silence on signage makes it easy to keep the engineered nature of these meats out of sight and out of mind. For Canadian families, the difference between a real ham and a restructured loaf is not just technical, it is hidden in the fine print and accessible only to those who know where to look and what to ask. Inside a modern meat plant, the journey from pork trimmings to deli ham begins with what most shoppers never picture: bins of small muscle pieces, offcuts, and lean scraps, not a whole leg. These fragments are loaded into massive stainless steel tumblers, where the real engineering takes place. Mechanical arms inject a brine solution, water, salt, phosphates, and curing agents deep into the meat, saturating every surface. The tumbling process, often done under vacuum, is not just about mixing. It is designed to extract sticky muscle proteins like actin and myosin. As the tumbler churns, these proteins coat the fragments, turning the mixture tacky enough to bind together. A food scientist stands over the process, explaining that phosphates in the brine are key. They raise the pH, let the meat absorb even more water, and make the proteins more soluble, so when the mix is cooked, it sets into a firm, sliceable block. In some facilities, an enzyme called transglutaminase, often called meat glue, is added. This enzyme forges chemical bonds between proteins, helping the small pieces fuse into a seamless whole. The sticky mass is packed into huge molds or casings, shaped into perfect cylinders or ovals, then cooked and sometimes smoked until the interior gels. When the mold is peeled away, what emerges looks like a single, uniform ham. But under the surface, it is a matrix of fragments, water, and additives, engineered to hold together and slice cleanly. The result is a product that is legal, efficient, and visually convincing, designed to pass as premium ham, even though it started as a collection of leftovers. Turning pork trimmings and water into a high-margin deli product is not just a feat of food engineering, it is a business model. For grocery chains and meat processors, restructured ham is a goldmine hiding in plain sight. The economics are simple. Whole pork legs are expensive and limited, but trimmings and small muscle pieces, byproducts of butchery, are cheap and abundant. Add water, which costs next to nothing, and suddenly you have a product that can be sold for $12 to $15 per kilogram at the deli counter. Phosphates and other additives play a key role here. By raising the pH of the meat, phosphates let processors inject and retain more water, boosting the final weight without adding more actual pork. Every extra percentage point of water held inside translates directly to profit because customers pay ham prices for what is, in reality, a significant amount of water and chemical binders. Carrageenan and transglutaminase, known as meat glue, bind scraps together so seamlessly that the finished loaf can pass for a premium cut, even though it started as a collection of odds and ends. A kilogram of restructured ham loaf might contain only a fraction of the pork found in a traditional roast, yet it commands the same price at the counter. For the industry, the ability to transform low-value inputs into a product that looks, slices, and sells like the real thing is the ultimate yield booster. The higher the water content, the more money is made, often with the details hidden in ingredient lists that most shoppers never see. This is why the financial motive behind restructured deli ham is so powerful, and why so many products on Canadian shelves are engineered to maximize yield, not quality. Inside the lab, every sample of deli ham begins its journey with a tamper-evident seal and a unique code. The lab director oversees the intake, logging each package with the store, date, and product details, then placing it immediately under cold storage. Nothing is left to chance. Each ham sample is split into portions, one for immediate testing and another archived at -20 degrees in case any results are challenged later. This is the protocol demanded by ISO 17025 accreditation, the same international standard used by government and industry labs across Canada. The core of the analysis is proximate testing. One portion is weighed, then dried in a calibrated oven to determine moisture content, often the single biggest clue to how much water has been pumped into the product. Another slice is ground and tested for protein using the Kjeldahl method, a chemical process that measures nitrogen and translates it into grams of protein per 100 grams. Fat is extracted through ether or acid hydrolysis, while the remaining ash, mostly salt and minerals, is measured in a high-temperature furnace. These numbers, moisture, protein, fat, and ash, are the building blocks for calculating the protein fat-free value, the key metric that Canadian law uses to separate real ham from restructured, water-added products. To confirm the presence of additives, technicians use ion chromatography to measure phosphates, a signature of industrial processing. Carrageenan, a seaweed-derived stabilizer, is identified through high-performance liquid chromatography, while any hint of transglutaminase, the so-called meat glue, is flagged by searching for specific protein crosslinks using mass spectrometry. Every result is double-checked against controls, and the entire process is documented from start to finish. The lab director signs off on the chain of custody forms, ensuring that every number reported can be traced directly back to the original slice of ham from the grocery counter. Only after all these steps are complete do the results leave the lab, ready to answer the question, what exactly are Canadians buying when they order a pound of freshly sliced deli ham? Numbers from the lab do not lie, and the results from Canada's most popular deli hams are enough to stop you in your tracks. 3 major brands, Maple Leaf, Schneider's, and President's Choice, were tested, and none of them could claim to be real whole muscle ham. Every single sample was classified as restructured meat, built from small pork pieces, water, and a cocktail of additives. Moisture readings hit 30% in some products, confirming that nearly a third of what you are paying for is water, not pork. The ingredient lists matched the lab findings. Sodium phosphate, carrageenan, and transglutaminase showed up again and again. These are not just technical terms, they are industrial tools. Carrageenan, a seaweed extract, locks in water and gives that jiggly, uniform texture. Transglutaminase, often called meat glue, binds scraps into seamless slices that look deceptively like a premium cut. The lab director explains the results. If you see carrageenan or transglutaminase on the ingredient list, you are looking at engineered meat. This is not a carved ham roast. It is a product designed for yield and sliceability, not authenticity. The numbers confirm what ingredient labels try to hide. In all 3 brands, the combination of high water, phosphates, and enzyme markers leaves no doubt. These are restructured, water-laden loaves, not true ham. The shock is not just in the chemistry, it is in the price. Canadians are paying up to $15 a kilogram for what is, by every metric, a manufactured meat product. The illusion of premium, freshly sliced ham is shattered by the cold facts of moisture content and additive markers. For millions of families, the deli counter is serving up water, salt, and chemicals disguised as tradition. The next question is obvious. What does all this mean for your health? Dr. Nadia Faulkner spends her days in a clinic north of Toronto, watching blood pressure numbers creep up year after year. She has seen it in patients who swear they eat well, who reach for what looks like a healthy lunch, sliced ham on whole wheat bread, a little mustard, maybe a leaf of lettuce. But the numbers tell a different story. One patient, a retired teacher in his 60s, came in with swelling in his ankles and headaches that would not quit. His blood pressure was 162/98, despite medication. He had switched from bacon to deli ham years ago, thinking it was the safer choice. What he did not know was that every sandwich was quietly loading his body with sodium and phosphorus far beyond what his kidneys could handle. Dr. Faulkner explains it simply. Processed deli meats are salt bombs. The sodium content is off the charts, and the added phosphates stress the kidneys in ways most people never realize. For someone with early-stage kidney disease, even a few slices a day can push phosphorus levels into dangerous territory. The kidneys cannot keep up, so phosphate builds in the blood, damaging blood vessels and raising the risk of heart attack and stroke. The Canadian Hypertension Society warns that most adults should aim for less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day. But just 100 grams of typical deli ham can deliver over a third of that before you have salted anything else. In the waiting room, the teacher looks at his lunch habits with regret. He never saw a warning sign at the deli counter. No one mentioned the phosphate load or the salt content. It was just ham, sliced fresh, handed over the glass. For him, the consequences are real. Stricter dietary limits, new medications, a sense of betrayal every time he walks past the deli case. Dr. Faulkner sees it every week, a silent hit to health, paid for in blood pressure readings and lab results, hidden in plain sight. At the deli counter, clarity vanishes with a single question. What is in this ham? Staff reach for easy answers, saying it is just ham, or saying Black Forest is very popular. Push harder, and uncertainty spreads. Some disappear to rummage for a binder or torn packaging. Others admit they have no idea what is in the loaf. Ingredient lists, if produced at all, are faded photocopies in plastic sleeves, produced only when someone insists. The glass shows a brand and a price, nothing more. The real names, chopped ham, minced ham, or restructured pork with water, salt, phosphates, carrageenan, and transglutaminase, never appear. A spokesperson for a major chain offers a practiced line, claiming all their deli meats meet Canadian regulatory standards and are safe for customers. Questions about meat glue, added water, or the ratio of whole muscle to restructured ham get the same response. They say they follow all CFIA requirements. There is no direct admission of what is in the slice, or why the ingredient list is hidden. In an independent butcher's shop, the story changes. Here, ham is made from whole pork legs, brined with salt and spices, and smoked on site. The ingredient list, pork, salt, sugar, cure, is taped to the counter. The butcher's advice is simple. Ask for the original label, look for whole muscle, and avoid anything listing phosphates or carrageenan near the top. If staff cannot answer basic questions, that is your answer. A family of 4 stands at the counter, unsure. They want real ham, not a science experiment. But with details buried in fine print or locked in a binder, the choice is murky. Canadian law requires ingredient lists if you ask, but not that they are obvious. For most, the truth stays hidden unless you demand it. Right now, you can walk into any major Canadian grocery store and buy deli ham that is more engineered than farmed. No full ingredient label is required. As long as regulations allow this level of secrecy, trust sits on the chopping block. The next time you order at the counter, remember, sometimes what you do not see is exactly what matters most. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.